That's exactly what Satan tempted Eve with. I'm sure you saw it. There was a woman politician running recently who said, I don't want any children. I want power, right? Okay. Well, that's exactly what Satan tempted Eve with. You on your own power, you can eat this fruit and then you can attain this knowledge of good and evil that God's trying to keep it, which is a form of empowerment, right? So it's the same temptation to Eve. And then as a result of that, then because Eve ate the fruit, now she's stuck with certain difficulties and disorders, and so are the women, etc. But which is a punishment for the crime because certain actions have certain natural effects, etc. But that also is an indicator that because women have a weakness in that area, the demons are particularly wed to the perpetuating that because it empowers them to manipulate and control and to break down society. And the more they can break it down, which primarily comes from undermining Adam, which of course we talk about in the film, but undermining Adam through his wife, then the same thing happens actually you see today among married couples, etc. And so the very idea of patriarchy is one of those things that it provides the right order, as we'll just get done saying, as part of the natural law. So it actually follows the right order. And it's in that order that the family thrives. And that's why the demons specifically attack it. So anytime you're trying to reestablish this thing, and I think we even mentioned Tim, but I think this is one of the most dearly held positions of women and even men in our culture, that is feminism, that it's to such a degree and it's so entrenched now in everybody's thinking, against the patriarchy, that I think doing anything to try and undo it is going to be met with tremendous resistance. However, I think it's also the first thing of, look at sometimes getting the first shot across the bow ends the war. And so I think this is one of those things where it's kind of like, once they assassinated Charlie Kirk, whatever people would think about him or whatever, there was a huge shift that happened culturally as a result of that, because a particular set of issues were now forced to the fore. And then now I think that same thing is going to happen with feminism. So you got this trad wife thing that's kind of coming up, but it needs direction.
Right.
But that's an indicator that the natural law isn't changing. And so people are starting to go back to the natural law, but it's going to be a rough road on the way there, I think.